This is Yinlin's most basic combo, and this is her most efficient combo that will test your skills to the fullest. And yo, welcome to my Yinlin guide, which will mainly focus on a combo that you can use to really maximize Yinlin's kit. I'll be giving you 3 different team combos that will range from easy, intermediate, to difficult, and I challenge you to master all of them. One of the teams doesn't even feature calcharo because, well, not everyone has him, and I don't think enough people recognize that. Watch this and you have an idea for a combo for anyone's account. By the way, I did not fully come up with all of these. All the references are in the description. And here we go! Firstly, let's take a look at Yinlin, because I can't take my eyes off her. In my guide, I won't be repeating the fluff that you can definitely read, say, on print one or just in-game, right? I expect you to know at least what her kit does, like her ult is an AoE damage. But I will still cover them quickly. Here are the information that you need to make sure your Yinlin is built correctly. And this one, you probably already watched the guide, so I won't delve too deep into them. Plus, it is pretty straightforward. Onto the stuff that are truly valuable, the combos. I'll start with the hardest one first, see if you can handle it. This team features the good old Yinlin calcharo verina, very obvious. But what isn't obvious is the way you can maximize every buff possible, so when calcharo ults, he has every buff for the entirety of the duration. To do that, here's the setup. Yinlin's on the Moonlit Cloud set because we'll be using her as a support DPS in a quick swap setup, so this will be easier to do. You can use Void Thunder, but the combo will be slightly different. And now, onto the showcase. Here's the combo sheet for you to practice. Do take a screenshot, and I suggest that you do it with me. Here we have the warm-up phase. Start with Verina's ulti and skill, mainly for the concerto energy. Swap over to calcharo and use a skill. Then dodge to cancel the animation, then skill again. This will allow you to gain 2 stacks of his Forte circuit for later, and at the same time, it fully activates from Void Thunder set buffs. Then normal swap to Yinlin. Use your skill and then ult instantly. You don't even need your skill to hit because mainly you just need the concerto energy. Then consider use your basic only if you won't max your concerto energy. If you're not aware, Yinlin gains a lot of concerto energy the more enemies you hit. So in this case, since there are a lot of enemies, even if I use one basic, I would max out my concerto. And I don't want that to happen yet because the setup's not over. Back to the showcase now. Here, just use a skill instead. Then normal swap to calcharo to use his echo, which you have to click twice to use his full attack and the buffs as well. After you do a second attack, you'll fully gain the buffs. Swap to Yinlin. Use one basic and her echo. This is just to do extra damage and gain concerto while calcharo's echo is still attacking. After using her echo, make sure to instantly swap to Verina before your camera flies up with the Heron. If done correctly, Verina will be swapped on ground, where she will use her second basic attack. What you want to do is continue that combo by using 3 more basic attacks to complete the 5-hit basic attack. This will gain her 1 stack of Forte circuit. Then you want to jump with Verina and use 3 basic attacks mid-air. This will consume your Forte and gain a good amount of concerto energy too. Then go ahead and use your echo, which gets your team damage boost. And that marks the end of your warm-up phase. Moving on with the DPS window. Start with Yinlin's intro skill, and this will apply Sinner's Mark on whoever it hits. Now on my showcase, the enemies are just spread apart. I can't do much. Ideally though, you want to hit more enemies, but at the very least, you will get the mark on, say, a boss. Then instantly do her max Forte heavy attack. If you're missing Forte here, just do a normal heavy attack instead, then a max Forte heavy attack. This turns all Sinner's Mark into Punishment Mark. Then trigger calcharo's intro skill. Use his skill right away. That will get you your 3rd Forte circuit stacks because you've used 2 skills earlier. Go ahead and use his charged attack now. What you just did here, make sure is that the Void Thunder set is fully activated, since you've just done one of your skill and a charged attack. Calcharo's charged attack is a heavy attack that does resonance liberation damage, so it's a type of heavy attack which activates Void Thunder set. And with that, he officially has all the buffs that's above 10 seconds. Here's where you want to use your ultimate, but before his charged attack happen, you want to instantly use your ultimate to cancel the animation. If you don't, he might lose some buffs before the ult state ends. Now that you're in your ult, use a basic attack which activates Death Messenger, his highest damaging move. Then do 5 basics, 1 dodge, and 1 basic. I did a mistake here dodging too early, but as long as you at least cancel 1 long animation, you can do a total of 3 Death Messengers in his ult state. Then finish the DPS window off with 6 basics again, which activates the final Death Messenger. After that, move back to the warm-up phase, which if Verina doesn't have enough for the ulti, simply use some basics instead. And then do everything all over again. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what the most efficient and hardest combo to pull off looks like. What you will notice is that the team allows calcharo to have every possible buff during his ultimate state without running out at all. Chances are right now, the way you're using him, you'll see a scenario where Verina or calcharo's echo does not fully buff the entirety of calcharo's ult state. It'll end like 70% of the way through because Yinlin took a bit of the time period to just do her skills. And if you really want to be truly sweaty like that, that cannot stand. You want to feel the constriction of your arteries playing the game. That is Wuthering Waves. But jokes aside, remember that it is impossible to always do the right combo no matter what, because while the boss is gonna attack you, sometimes you have to evade. If you really do mess it up, you get knocked back, or if you didn't get full full energy, simply do some basics. It's not the end of the world. But the important idea is you understand how to manage the buffs and how the rotation and the logic behind them stands. Perhaps you understand it more once I bring you through this next combo, which is an easy version of the same team. This will be more realistic to do, but the buff simply doesn't stay with calcharo till the end. The setup will be the same, but say if you only have a Baiju instead of Verina for any of these setup, her combo to replace Verina's mid-air attack will be this, which I've already showcased before. Do check it out if you need. And for the easy version of the combo, you start with the warm-up phase. Calcharo will use his echo attack twice first for the buff. It's also important to note that your echo buff will not disappear on Calcharo even if you swap him out. As you swap in Verina, use 3 basics to do a full basic combo. Then use her skill, then use her echo, followed by a jump with 3 basic attacks. This will fully max your consider energy. Then activate Yinlin's intro skill. Use her skill, then use her ulti, then 4 basics, then skill again. This will be her normal combo that fully utilizes her skill mainly. After that, use her max forte heavy attack to get the punishment mark. Then use her echo and trigger Calcharo's intro skill. Here you want to instantly use this ultimate and do 1 basic for Death Messenger, followed by 6 basic attacks for the second Death Messenger, then 3 basics, 1 skill, 3 basics for a final Death Messenger. If you don't do the skill in between the final Death Messenger, you might not get enough time to do the final hit. After that, go back from the top again. Start with Calcharo's echo. What you'll notice is that after the first rotation, Calcharo doesn't quite get the maximum energy he needs for the ulti. This is due to the fact that the mob died and I missed my second echo attack with Calcharo. And this is the main issue with Calcharo that you might find. If he gets interrupted, your entire rotation gets messed up a little bit. He might not get enough energy if he doesn't attack constantly during the ultimate. It's quite challenging to do. But honestly, if you mess up here and there, just use some basics to recover some energy. It's not the end of the world. As long as you follow the general axis of the team, you understand what you're doing, and you swap characters correctly, right? That will be the main way to deal the most damage. Overall, it's just certainly better than clicking whatever that glows. I recommend going for this combo since it's a lot easier and it's a lot more effective in turning Sinner's Mark into punishment mark since you do it without swapping out. I know that this team doesn't fully place all buffs on Calcharo's damage window, especially Verina and Calcharo's echo, which both only last for 15 seconds while Calcharo's ulti goes for 10 seconds. Partial of those buff duration will be eaten up by Yinlin that does her ulti, that does her heavy attack skill as well, which is why to maximize the buff duration or your DPS, Yinlin cannot stay on field that long. But truth be told, it's not that big a deal. Considering it's so much more easier to do, I just recommend going for this, right? Go ahead and practice. It's not as hard as it looks. And that is how you master the Yinlin team comp that is the talk of the town right now. But here's the thing though, I realize a lot of people just assume you have a Calcharo. Not sure why that is, which is why in this video I've included this combo that uses the Havoc Rover with Yinlin instead. Everyone has a Havoc Rover, right? And here's the team setup. The team will focus on buffing Havoc Rover's ult damage through Yinlin and doing extra damage with Yinlin's mark as well. These are the stat criteria. You will need to have 140% energy regen on your Rover to always have your ultimate ready at the right time. You can go lower, but that just means you might need to do more basic attacks. It'll feel less smooth. And with that, let's start. The warm up into DPS window starts with Verina's ult and skill. Then normal swap to Rover and use her ulti. Then her skill and her echo. The moment the echo spawns, normal swap to Verina. Use 3 basics to finish her full combo, then use her echo. After that, jump to use 3 mid-air basic attacks. This will be Verina's standard rotation combo. Just keep that in mind. After that, trigger Yinlin's intro skill. Do her standard combo of skill, ulti, 4 basics, skill, and then max forte heavy attack, and then end with using her echo. The moment it spawns, trigger Rover's intro skill. Here you will use her basic attack to land on ground, then use her skill. If you do it correctly, she will just have enough for her max forte. So go ahead and use a heavy attack to transform, then spam basics until you get the ultimate. Generally, you need to do 2 full basic combos. When you do get her ultimate, go ahead and use it. Then instantly use her echo, which is Dreamless. By doing so, it activates Dreamless damage boost since you just used Rover's ultimate. And with this setup, you're using everything during the transform state, which gets you extra Havoc damage. That is what you want to do. Once you finish, trigger Yinlin's intro skill and instantly normal swap to Verina. Verina will come in with this 1 hit, which will gain you crucial consider energy. By the end of that, Rover would have finished the Dreamless attack, and since you didn't use her skill in the transformed state, you get to do her skill now. This will be important to max her forte energy up again. Then go back to Verina and start from 3rd step, which is Verina's standard combo. From then on, it's the exact same thing, and you'll find that Rover will have the ultimate ready in the transformed state, perhaps at a different timing. Just make sure to use her echo and the Dreamless attack as well in the transformed state, even if the ult maxes out early for you, right? It'll depend on how many enemies you hit and all of that. And that is how you play a Havoc Rover setup that maximizes Yinlin's abilities, and it's not that hard to do as well. It is not ideal to use Yinlin with Havoc Rover or say Encore, anyone like that, right? But if you don't have Calcharo, your only choice is to utilize Yinlin's Resonance Liberation damage buff, which Havoc Rover has a really good resonance liberation damage, right? Give it enough energy regen, make sure that Yinlin's buff is on, make sure that everyone has punishment mark, and you'll do a bunch of damage with your Havoc Rover. By the way, if anyone's gonna complain my stats are not as high because, well, number one, I don't have the resources, number two, the enemies would die if I have good stats, so I can't showcase if they just die. But anyways, that marks the end of this combo, guy. This guy mostly utilizes Yinlin as a support DPS rather than a main DPS Void Thunder set though, which she is mainly designed to be a supportive character, right? But on paper, you could do the exact same steps with your Void Thunder setup. It shouldn't work against you. But let me know if you want me to do a video like this with a main DPS Yinlin though. And finally, just remember that you don't have to follow every single button to a T. In actual combat, it is impossible to just have your enemies be always destroyed by you without fighting back ever. Especially against bosses, they're gonna try and attack you. You have to evade. But as long as you understand the reasoning behind what button you smash, especially with the combos I gave you today, you'll keep your Concerto at a healthy level and make sure the buff stays with your DPS for the longest amount of time possible. And as long as you understand that, you'll be fine. And that will be all. I covered a lot of Wuthering ways, so do subscribe, okay? And do comment down below if you like this sort of video or any other ideas you might have. Sometimes I yoink your comment and make a video straight out of it. And that'll be all. Take care.